should be up and running. Excellent, excellent. You think here. Shush my phone. You channel, go here. Got that pulled up on the phone, so I should be able to see if anyone chats at all. Not that I expect anyone to come in while I'm streaming. Alright. So we gonna play some Pillars of Eternity. Streaming. All good. We're gonna go with normal. I was just streaming. You're welcome to watch if you want. I mean, I'm talking to anybody I can talk to right now. Just so there's no fucking dead silence at the moment. Pillars of Eternity. Fun little RPG. It's a fun little RPG.
5 wagons grope blindly for the path on a starless night, their master glancing ever upward to the skies for assurance that he is on the right course. A dim lantern his only protection against the encroaching darkness. But the skies bring no comfort, shining no light, betraying no hint of what they know. The caravan carries travelers bound for the frontier hamlet of Gilded Vale, you among them, where a local lord has offered land and wealth to settlers from abroad looking for a fresh start. You have taken suddenly ill, sweating and shivering, and one of the other travelers signals for the caravan master to stop on your behalf. He pulls up just in time to avoid plowing into the trunk of a fallen tree that bars the way ahead. You will go no further tonight.
Alright. So, done in that regard. Now we go to character creation. Fun. So I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do here. I have an idea, but I'm not 100% sold just. Being as we're on normal, I don't really have to min-max all that much. I just have to not be a complete screw up with it. So go to godlikes to get Dex Intelligence, because I do want to make a godlike on this playthrough. Now the question is, what kind of godlike do I want to make? There is the nature godlikes, which you have the benefit of Wellspring of Life, grants a bonus to might, constitution, and dexterity when endurance is below 50%. So would probably make a good barbarian or warrior type character. Maybe druid, if you went like shapeshifty druid. Maybe in that regard. We'll see. Death godlike. Death's Usher. When Death godlike attack an enemy with 25% or less endurance, their damage is increased. Doesn't really say by how much. So this one right here would be more of a kind of a actual damage dealer in that regard. And the fire godlike. So they have on here called Battle Forged. When reduced below 50% endurance, fire godlikes glow like metal in a forge, gaining damage reduction and doing a small amount of fire damage to any creature who hits them in melee. So once again, probably another good melee person who's going to be on the front lines taking hits. And then the moon godlikes. Every encounter when reduced below 75%, 50%, and 25% endurance, moon godlikes generate waves of healing moonlight that restores endurance to them and all their allies. Potential support: if you take damage, you at least give some healing to your team. I could see the fire godlike being like a tanky type. Nature godlikes being very centered around gaining the benefit of their wellspring of life, sort of thing. And of course, death godlikes is being like, you use this as some sort of damage dealer. Part of me wants to make a nature godlike, but I also kind of want to make a fire godlike. Death would be cool too. I'm not sold on moon. Then again, I'm not sold on a type of support class sort of thing, so kind of between these three here. How do we want to do this? Let me look something up. Let me pull something up real quick. Okay, cool. Alright, so suppose it kind of depends on what kind of class I'm going with. I know I want to have Adir on my team, but I know he's a warrior type. Kind of want I could go with a backline Cypher, maybe one that uses like pistols or rifles for it. Maybe think about that. Could go with a frontline one. Like a frontline, maybe like some frontline. Let's go. You know what? I have an idea. Let's go nature godlike. We have the human godlike. We have the Amawa godlike. More or less, you can kind of change your rough appearance based upon where your character heralds from overall. Orlin. I think I'm gonna go with Elven godlike. In this regard, it doesn't really. That's mostly just cosmetic. There's really no specific to that. Kind of want to go Cypher, like a melee Cypher at that. There are a couple things I could go. I mean, I could go Druid, nature godlike, and focus very much on shape-shifting and all that stuff. It would make sense in that regard, considering the god that they follow is the one that's the patron of druids within the game. But let's see, shapeshifter. Let's see here. Let's go through the ones that I'm looking at. So we have Cypher. I could also go Chanter. Chanter's another option. So I I've never played a monk before, and I don't know if I'm going to be playing a monk this time around. I feel like it's either going to be Chanter, Cypher, or Druid. Those three in particular. Don't see me playing a Ranger. I don't really see me playing a Priest either. Not with this kind of godlike, at least. Maybe a Priest that's a fire godlike, and go with a Priest of Mulcrane or something, if that's even an option. Is that an option? Yeah, Mogren. So more or less, the way I would go with that would be to go next godlike, fire godlike, elf, priest, Mogren, and that's sort of the setup I would go with as far as that goes on the character. Be a very aggressive style priest character of Mogren. Ow, that hurt. The other one is you can go a Bareth priest as a death godlike, but yeah. But I'm gonna go nature, elf. You know, I don't really play Druid all that much. I've played these other ones. I might try Cypher in a later playthrough. What I'm thinking. I think I might go Druid. Just because it fits a lot more to the character. Druids have access to a variety of offensive and some support-oriented spells. Every 2 levels, Druid automatically gain access to an additional set of spells. Initially, their spells can be cast a limited number of times per rest. As Druids gain power, their weaker spells eventually shift to per encounter use. In Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire, pretty much all spells shift to a per encounter use, and resting more or less just kind of helps with stuff like maintaining your health pools and keeping debuffs off of you. So we're gonna go with Druid. Now the question is, what are we gonna shapeshift into? Is it gonna be we're gonna shift it into a bear? These are all per encounter, so you don't have to worry about that in that regard. So let's look at the options here. We have the shapeshift into bear. So shapeshifting into a bear draws upon the druid's natural connection to the bear, temporarily allowing him or her to assume that form. The bear spirit shift has a high damage reduction and can invoke a terrifying roar. The shapeshift into boar draws upon the druid's natural connection with the boar, temporarily allows him or her to assume that form. The boar spirit shift regenerates lost endurance and inflicts damage over time with its melee attack. So that might be an interesting thing to go with. Spirit shift cat draws upon the druid's natural connection to the cat, temporarily allowing him or her to assume that form. The cat's spirit shift has a naturally fast attack and can burst into even faster attacks for short periods of time. The stag spirit shift has a higher defenses and can attack groups of enemies with its melee carnage attack, so it takes on some of the barbarian aspects in that regard. It has a duration of 15 seconds, which is increased by your intelligence, by the by. All duration buffs and debuffs are increased, have their durations increased by your intelligence. Depending on whatever that stat is, that's going to determine how long something lasts for. Spirit shift wolf. The wolf spirit shift moves quickly and has an attack that knocks. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to do a boar. We're going to go do spirit shift boar in this regard, just because it has the life regeneration and the damage over time, I think we can make good use of that. Tempted to go Stag for the defenses and the AoE, but I think Boar's going to be better off. Alright, now we have our stats. Now for a Druid, the main stats we have are going to be Might, Intellect, and Resolve. If you're going like a damage-based Druid, you're really going to want to go with Perception, so I do want to crank that Soldier Boy all the way up there. Dexterity is action speed and reflexes. So you can go into negatives on stuff. I don't recommend it with this game. I really don't. Maybe something like that. Something like that. We'll see what we go with in the next one. I do want a high intellect so I can maintain my buffs for longer in AoE, area of effects and durations and all that and that stuff. So good stuff there. Now you can pick your culture and what you herald from. So you have the following, which I'm going to read them here in a minute, but let me look at something real quick for you. We have the Spirit Shift Board. There you go. We already know what that does, so what it is. Charm Beast. The Druid utilizes his or her innate connection with nature, the natural world, to charm enemy animals in the area of effect. Dancing Bolts. I love the look of this ability. It always is very sparkly, very pretty to see. I'm tempted to focus more on not so much the spirit shift part, but go into the the actual damage dealing abilities of the Druid, because there's a lot of good stuff. There's actually a lot of good stuff here. And in the second one, you can actually focus on being a spellcaster with damaging spellcaster. But anyways, this is a summon a flurry of thin bolts of lightning hitting enemies in the area of effect with shock damage. Causes the enemies in an area of effect to glow with pale green light, making them easier targets. Affected enemies suffer decreases in deflection and reflection. Okay. And you have Sunbeam, calls down a shaft of intense sunlight, burning the potentially blinding those it caught in the area of effect. Okay. And you have Winter Winds, causes an icy wind of incredible power to arise, pushing back all in the area of effect and inflicting freeze damage. Vile Thorns, shoots sharp thorny vines up through the ground, causing pierce damage and potentially sickening anyone in the area of effect. A sickened character has all attributes reduced by 1. Fortitude and will are reduced by 10. So something to keep in mind with that. Of course, you have the Natural Vigor, which is healing. Tanglefoot, which is crowd control, and then Talons, which is a slash to all targets in an area. Now the question is, how do we go about this? So we have Aedir, the Aedirn Empire. The Aedirn Empire is currently the largest and most powerful force in this part of the world. It is centered around the equator and has a tropical climate, though the Empire has colonies in numerous areas of the world. Greater Aedir is at its heart and houses is the majority of its human and elven nations. Deadfire Archipelago, which each one gives like a different kind of starting setup. You can see this is kind of like a hard cured leather sort of thing with a buckler and a scimitar. This gives you a quarterstaff and +1 to Dex. Deadfire Archipelago, consisting of a nation of Nasitak, dozens of Amawa settlements, and hundreds of lawless pirate-infested islands that stretch along the southern sea. Deadfire is home to boreal dwarves, Amawa, and a mixed variety of other races. Deadfire Archipelago is the last stop for anyone headed east. A multitude of monstrous sea creatures infest the ocean beyond, making travel virtually impossible. Ixamital Plains, you get a stick and a buckler, located to the northeast of Erglafen or Erglanfoth. I'm gonna have issues pronouncing something. You'll have to forgive me in that regard. The Ixamital Plains are a large expanse of fertile savannas that are extensively farmed by human and Orlan residents. The Ixamital culture is one of the oldest in the world, though one of the least imperialistic, having spread out little over the past several thousand years. And you have one that increases your intellect, which I probably will go with, which is Old Viela. Once the crown jewel of the southern seas, Old Viela is now the crumbled remnants of an empire of warring merchant nations, counting many humans and dwarves among their ranks. The Old Vielan countries are still forces to be reckoned with and are proud of their rich cultural heritage. Ruatai. There's actually a companion who's from Ruatai that you can get later on. Dominated by the Amawa nation of Ruatai, the Gulf itself is host to a number of nations, most of them Amawa, Orlan, and dwarves. Though these countries are relatively young, they are some of the most advanced colonial settlements in the east. The Gulf is a land of riches and resources for those who can take them, though the entire coast is often pummeled by violent storms. Alright, so the Living Lands. The Living Lands is a mountainous region of a large northern island renowned for its diversity of plant and animal life. Its weather is unpredictable and its ecosystem vary dramatically from valley to valley. The Living Lands are home to an assortment of races and a variety of colonial and independent settlements. And the Whites That Wind is a large, cracked southern expanse of polar ice. The Whites That Winds is home to pale elves and small colonies of daring explorers, outcasts, and adventurers. While virtually no plant life grows in the Whites, it is home to many hardy species of dangerous animals that forage from the sea or prey upon each other to survive. So, like I said, I will probably go with Old Viela. Does that mean I get this? Yeah. I mean, we get the choppy stick. We get the choppy stick, but it gives me the plus intellect, and I want to have my intellect as high as possible. Honestly, on this character. In fact, so much so that I'm willing to do. I will probably regret this. Yeah, 20. I think that's going to be more what I'm looking for. Constitution is fine, I just don't want to drop my Constitution below 10. I don't see myself being a melee character. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. I can always. I think there's a. I think there's a respec option somewhere. Alright, so what do we want to go with? We have the aristocrat, the artist, the dissident, the colonist, the drifter, the hunter, the mercenary, the laborer, the merchant, and the slave. We'll probably go with merchant. It gives us lore and mechanics. Mechanics is a good skill to have at your disposal, because that's what gives you access to things to unlock. And I know if like, oh well, you can just take like someone else who has mechanics. I prefer to have mechanics on my character just because I don't want to have to rely on someone else to do that sort of thing in a in a given situation. So, given that we're coming from Old Vaela, which, if y'all remember, crown jewel of the Seven Seas, Old Vaela is now a crumbled remnants of the empire of warring merchant nations. So it makes sense that we would be a merchant of some kind. We could also be an aristocrat, which we're gonna go with aristocrat. I don't mind having it all at a high level of lore. Lore is a good thing. Alright, so now we get to pick our character look. So there's like a total of 3 nature godlike heads to pick from. We're gonna go with this one. I believe that's gonna be the one. Okay, yep, we're gonna go with that one. That and that. I think that'll be fine. So, accuracy versus reflexes, which is a dexterity. Oh, okay. So this is actually determined by your dexterity stat. So we'll go with that. That.
Yeah, I've got this. Let's go!
Steady does it.
Follow me. Yeah!
Yeah? Watch and learn.
Finish them!
To whispers and shadows. Oh?
I shall lead us. Charge!
The better part of valor.
I'm here, leading the way.
We'll go with
Duh!
Quietly now. I'm here. I'm flattered.
You're mine!
Silence surrounds me.
Now I am leader of the group.
we'll go with Noble. Alright. And now we need a name. This is just what I name most of my druid characters anyways. And the way you pronounce that is Saval. Alright. Alright. Alright, I think we're good here. Again, if I change my mind on something, I'll just go back and redo it. It'll cost a bit of coin, but it is what it is. Alright.
Everybody stays close to the wagons, got it? Stay out of the woods, and beasts take you if you are planning a stroll through those ruins up there.
He nods towards a looming black mass on the hillside.
Whole area's crawling with hut-dwelling types who would be happy to stick an axe in you for trespassing. So mind that you don't track mud on their sacred blazing rocks. Tonight, everybody stays put, and in the morning we'll get the path cleared. Gilded Vale's less than a day out. Understood?
At last, the caravan master turns to you, frowning as he looks over you.
Touch of the rumbling rot, could be. There's a stinging beetle round here, carries it. You'll be fine once it passes your innards. Unless you don't drink water, course. Which case you'll be dead in a day. There's a berry grows in these parts, small and pink, called a springberry. About the size of a fingernail. Give you cramps if you eat it, but the frontiersmen make a tea from it. Calms the insides. Should get you through the night. You might check around, see if you can find some. Meanwhile, I'll see if we can scare you up some water. I know you want to hunt before it gets much darker, but see about refilling our water first. Got a sick one here.
Let's see, where would I find these berries? What are these ruins? Is it dangerous out there? What are these huge rocks coming out of the ground? Okay, so he just said what the ruins were. He just said what these things were. They're ruins that are sacred to the peoples around here. That's about all I fucking care to know. Is it dangerous out here? He just said it was dangerous, so these two questions are fucking pointless to me. So
They grow on a bush that's common round here, kind of funny looking. You'll know it when you see it. Doubt you'd have to go far off the road to find one.
Okay. And of course, what are the rocks?
They don't got Adra where you come from? Well, it just grows up out of the ground like this. Goes deep like tree roots. Some of it all the way to the heart of the world, you believe the stories.
That is interesting in and of itself.
It's more like a shell than a proper rock. Easier to work if you're a mason. Got all kinds of strange properties. Seems to have some kind of life of its own. Dies if it gets dug up. Loses its luster. Folks think it probably grew at one point or another, but not these days. The soul butchers in Defiance Bay use it for different things. I've heard tell it can hold a man's soul, but I don't care to see it. Got enough to worry about without seeing something like that.
That is for sure. Alright, let me go find those berries then.
Hold on. Take someone with you. I know you're not some helpless tenderfoot, not like most of this lot. But you drop dead, I don't want to be looking for the body. Got a schedule to keep.
Okay.
Kalisha. Kalisha!
Needs to find some spring berries. Watch she doesn't drop dead.
No promises.
What kind of guide says something like that?
Kind you can afford.
Don't listen to her, you're in good hands. And I pay too well, if anything. Off with you. Hayden should have supplies. See that you're equipped before you head out. We're in harsh country. Get your berries and hurry back. And if you get so much as a tickle of wind, you drop everything and you run. Something in the air tonight. If it's a Beawick, we'll shelter in the ruins. Hut dwellers be damned.
You heard the man. Let's get going before you keel over.
So, this is the character we ended up with. We have Intellect 20, which gives us 60% area of effect, 50% duration, and 20 will, which is really good, because a lot of the stuff we'll probably deal with is going to be a real pain in the backside. We also have our passive, which gives us the benefit of increasing our strength and intellect and dexterity, I think it was, if our health drops below 50%, which, given the nature of this game, is probably going to happen a fair bit. But the godlikes are usually as powerful as they are. We have 6 action speed and 4 to reflex, and 12 damage and 4 to attack. Lovely. Alright, I am going to have to hit the AFK because we have a very upsetty baby that I have to go deal with. So I will be right back. Alright everybody, how you doing? We are back with a very upsetty baby.
Yeah, but get started now.
So, he is going to be here for a little bit while he kind of calms down and gets settled. I'm going to have to buy more of those.
Stay quiet.
Anyone need supplies? I've got sundries for sale.
Go over here. here to this guy. No, he's okay. He was not enjoying it.
Come here.
Was he mama?
Oh, it's okay. Okay, what's going on?
Alright, we're cutting the stream short, guys. Sorry about that.